We're here at the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic Fan Appreciation Morning with the voice of Knoxville Raceway, Tony Bokhoven. And Tony, you've been in Australia this week calling some races with Wade Ornger, and I'd say that race we saw last night was a Jim Dandy.
Yeah, it was. There were a lot of Jim Dandy moments last night, and what a stacked field. The overall event is huge, and the caliber of cars is probably better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, to have 5 of the top 10 Outlaws and the All-Star champ is a big deal for down here. What are your impressions so far of the Australian drivers you perhaps weren't familiar with?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, the caliber of cars from the States is, you know, the drivers is one thing, but the level of talent in Australia is unbelievable. Jock Goodyear, you know, Tate Frost, the list goes on, but you know, I think the days of the Americans coming over here and stealing the money and going home, those days are probably over because the caliber of cars is way better. The drivers have so much talent, and that was probably the thing that I underestimated the most.
Yeah, I know when I was a kid, you know, Bob Trostel would come out in the early 80s and bring the latest gear and just destroy our drivers. But like someone like Tate Frost, who won last night's feature, you know, he beating a field with Brad Sweet and all of these great Americans in it and driving around those guys to win, it was a very impressive performance, wasn't it?
It was very impressive, and talking to him after the races last night about just, you know, because there were some moves that he made that I thought, oh boy, you know, that was probably a questionable move, but to his point, you know, you've got one chance, and on your qualifying night, you've got to make the most of it, and you got to get as many points as you can and try to get locked into the gold dash, and so it was cool to see him elbows up. It was cool to see him beat some big names last night, and I think we'll see that again tonight. As you look at the roster for tonight, I don't think there's any one person that you could single out that would have an advantage over anybody else.
So you obviously spent a great deal of your life at Knoxville Raceway. I had the good fortune to attend myself in 2002. What are your thoughts on this event, the racetrack, the format? How's it been for you?
Well, I was asked about coming here, and my response was, this is the Knoxville Nationals of Australia. And the feel of the event is at that level, the caliber of cars is that level, the crowd is huge. I mean, just at the fan appreciation event here today, it's been a packed house, and to see the crowd we had last night on the first night, on a weeknight, you know, that's really impressive, and that says a lot about the event. And so I think this ranks right up there with some of the biggest races in the series, you know, and whether it's here or in the United States, this is a top event.
Well, I can certainly say from a fan's point of view, sitting in the stands last night, hearing some of your iconic calls on the PA was really thrilling. We've really enjoyed having you here. So, yes, thanks for coming down under, and thanks for speaking to SprintCarUnlimited.com.
It's been my pleasure. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and now to have checked the box is kind of a dream come true for me as an announcer. So thank you, and it's great to be here.